Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and I've got a question for you. Are you familiar with the phrase plundering the Egyptians? It's an idiom that refers to when God commanded the Israelites who were enslaved to Pharaoh to take the treasures of Egypt with them for the sake of their freedom. And I got to say, when I first came across our guest today, that's the first thing I thought of. He is a master at plundering the Egyptians for freedom and prosperity. And he's going to show you exactly how you can do it too. My guest today is Ross Gibbons. Ross is a former vice president of investment management at JP Morgan Chase. He's been trading stocks for almost 20 years and teaching clients how to trade their own money for almost a decade. Ross is also a leading expert on insider trading, and he runs a trading service called the Insider Effect, where he recommends stocks based on insider buying. His service has never had a losing year, and it's produced annual returns as high as, get this, 220%. Many have been able to make huge gains in their portfolios, even following suspected bigwig insider traders like Nancy Pelosi. Well, we don't want Pelosi here, but we're sure glad we've got Ross here with us today. So, Ross, welcome. It is awesome to have you here, my friend.
Hey, Dr. Steve, glad to be here. Really appreciate the invitation.
Oh, absolutely. And I really enjoyed just chatting with you before our broadcast today. Ross is one of us, gang. You're gonna love him. So we've all heard the rumors, of course. We've seen the memes, Nancy Pelosi, Trader of the Year, all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. I mean, is all that real? I mean, we've seen how much she makes from the market. Is she really this massive insider trader? I've heard she is.
100%. She is by far the biggest insider trader in Washington, at least from what I've seen. Now,
Wow.
based on some reports, her annualized return over the last few years was 69%. Now, to put that in perspective, that's better than the track records of Warren Buffett, George Soros, Peter Lynch, even the Medallion Fund, which is like the most successful hedge fund of all time. And it is just simply not possible to perform that well in these stocks
Right.
without the kind of information she has access to.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. So, could you break that down for us? I mean, I have to
Sure.
admit, I'm a bit of a neophyte in all of this. How
Hmm.
would you break down insider trading? Who does it? How does it work? How often are politicians involved in all of this?
Sure. So insider trading, the technical definition is when you buy a stock based on material, non-public information. So,
Mm,
for example, let's say a pharmaceutical company was about to get an FDA approval on one of their new drugs. Well, if it gets approved, this is going to generate tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in profit for the drug company. So, when that news goes public, the stock's going to skyrocket. Well, if you knew that information before everyone else, you could buy the stock early and then make a ton of money when it shoots up. So that's insider trading. You're using material, non public, that's the crucial part,
mm,
information, in this case, a pending FDA drug approval to make money in the market. Now, as far as who does it, yes, you're right on the money. You're not going to be surprised. Politicians are some of the most blatant offenders. And as we talked about earlier, it really all started coming to light around the time of COVID. So
yeah.
Congress, they were obviously briefed on the COVID-19 virus before they told us a thing, right? They knew how bad it was in China. They knew how fast it was spreading to the U.S. They knew what actions they're going to take. They knew what, the lockdowns, the closing businesses, all these unconstitutional dictator-like moves that we couldn't have imagined before
Right.
2020.
Yeah.
So when they did all that, I mean, surprise, surprise, you shut down the entire economy, the market tanked,
Right.
right? It fell 30% in like a month.
Right.
Well, it turns out several of these senators sold all their stocks right before the
Mm,
market crashed. I mean,
wow.
not just like a few shares, like millions of
Yeah.
dollars a
Yeah.
piece. And
Yeah.
we're all out here stuck holding the bag. And that made a lot of people mad, as it should have. But I think this really woke people up to what's going on, the kind of information they have, and how they're using it. You talked before about, like, is this prosecute? When we were talking about this before the show, you're like, is this often prosecuted? Like, do these people go to jail?
Right.
It's the funniest thing. Congress passed something known as the Stock Act in 2012. I don't want to get too boring, but basically this was their attempt to prevent insider trading. So all it says is you have to report your trades publicly within 45 days. It's done nothing.
Yeah.
Dr. Steve, you want to know what the penalty is for violating the Stock Act as a U.S. Senator?
Right. Little slap.
$200 fine. Yeah, 200. I mean, Pelosi's making $5 million a trade. You think she cares about a $200 slap on the wrist? So, it basically just gets ignored.
Yeah, this is when we say that Washington D.C. has become a business model. I mean, this is it.
Oh,
I mean,
good
what
business.
what an amazing business it is to be able to write the laws everyone else has to live by, but also by write the laws
Yeah,
for yourself and your own penalties and the like. Gang, the coolest thing here is that Ross is actually going to be giving us all of us. I'll be there too. A training on how we ourselves could tap into a little known SEC loophole that's led Ross and his clients to massive stock gains. We'll talk about it later on. But if you want to get a little sneak peek, just click on the link below. You're going to absolutely love it.
that's a good
I
one.
heard that Senator Josh Hawley has a real solution to this.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
you're. I was hoping you
yeah,
bring this up.
what do you think? Can you just give us a little bit of the
Yeah, so
background?
he's introduced a bill, and it's called the Pelosi Act, which is just hilarious.
I love it.
It's an acronym. It stands for Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments Act. So
I love it.
yeah, this the idea is to just prevent politicians from owning individual stocks while they're in office. It's across the
Okay.
board. An added benefit, at least to me, would be really cementing Nancy Pelosi's legacy as someone who spent decades in office to enrich herself, not her voters, right? They're not really caring about the American people, at least from what I've seen. I mean, the numbers are pretty simple. As Speaker of the House, she has an annual salary of $223,000. She has a net worth of $160 million.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of that, at least $140 million, was made from investments while she was in office.
Right.
So I don't know how you can ignore this. Now, I doubt this is going to become law. I'm not holding my breath for that.
Okay.
Last time Congress introduced something like this, Pelosi just used every trick in the book to kill it. So first thing she does is she sponsors the bill. This lets her put all kinds of complicated rules and stipulations into it to make sure nobody's going to vote yes. Right. Then she introduces it like 2 days before Congress went on their big annual break. So it never even came to a vote, right? You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. They're out for themselves, plain and simple, right?
Yeah.
And especially just the far edges, the radical left, they're just, the way it looks to me, they're keeping everybody distracted. Yeah. They've got their woke nonsense and their 17 new genders, and these are the pronouns you need to be using. Meanwhile, while we're looking over here, they're playing, get their game in the system, and they're making millions for themselves, not their voters.
Right. Yeah. They're certainly in it for their own gain. That's for sure. How can it, now, one of the things you specialize in is showing how the average person can actually take advantage of similar trends and knowledge legally, though. That's the key. That's what I find so fascinating with what you're doing. Can you flesh that out? How the average person can actually, do they leave tracks, as it were? Do they?
Exactly, they do. And this is the part not a lot of people know. And so when you called me, I was so happy to share this because I share with my members, but not on a big scale. And I think your members, your audience, deserve to hear this. So we just call it like follow the money, right? If you can't beat them, join them. You're going to trade inside information, fine, I'll follow you. Okay. And so what a lot of people started to do was just follow the trades these politicians like Pelosi. And in fact, if you look, there's actually Twitter accounts dedicated to just tracking Pelosi's trades. The problem is Congress, thanks to that Stock Act we were talking about, only has to report every 45 days. Right. And so that's just a big lag time. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to miss the move by the time you find out about it. Yeah. But as you alluded to earlier, and this is hard to believe, there is a group that puts Congress's numbers to shame. And that is these corporate insiders. So CEOs, CFOs, board members, right? These people can freely trade their own company stock, even though they have access to all sorts of inside information about their company. So, think about, what does a CEO know? What does a CFO know? Well, he knows when they're about to report good earnings. He knows how well sales are doing. They know when they're about to launch a new product, a new service. They know when they're going to get bought out at a higher price and the stock's going to surge. All this information, yet they are free to buy their own company stock with their own money in their own account with essentially zero risk of being prosecuted for insider trading. And I'll talk about in that training session, we're going to do the specific SEC loophole that grants them this. I know we don't have time to get into all the details today, but these folks just have incredible track records. And I can show charts where you go back and look at the last 20 years. They buy the heaviest at the absolute bottoms of the market. They sell at the tops. I mean, they regularly buy their stocks before they go 200, 500, even 1,000% higher. But what we're talking about, the part most people don't know is we can see when they're buying. So unlike politicians, these corporate insiders have to report their trades within 48 hours. So within 2 days. Wow. Yeah. And those records are available to you and me and the rest of the investing public immediately. So I can see what stocks they're buying right now and just follow along, just piggyback their trades.
So you're taking advantage of insider trading publicly, the moment it goes public, as it were. And exactly. But you've got enough time, that 48-hour lag is enough time to be able to ride those coattails, as it were.
Exactly. And these aren't, buy it Tuesday, sell Wednesday. I mean, most of the stocks we buy, for example, we get into one in February of 2020. It's the middle of the bear market. It was a small medical company. And we got like $30 a share, something that's kind of going nowhere. Well, 3 months later, the company gets bought out by GlaxoSmithKline. The stock surges. We made like 78% on the stock in 2 months in the middle of a bear market. And why is that? Well, we just followed the insiders. We had the CEO buying, the CFO's buying, the chairman of the board buying. I mean, big 6-7 figure dollar amounts in their own account completely out of nowhere. Why? Well, I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist. They probably knew they were in talks with GlaxoSmithKline about this multi-billion-dollar buyout. Let's be honest about it.
That's right. Oh, I love it. That's where insider trading actually works to your advantage. It's magnificent. Outside of the having the insider's knowledge.
Exactly.
Now you're doing this free webinar on gang. It's April 13th. Mark that down in your calendars. April 13th, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there as well because I find this absolutely fascinating. So, Ross, can you just give us a sense of what we can expect if we register for the webinar?
Yeah, so I'm going to do an hour training. And as you said, I've been doing this a long time. As far as I know, I don't say this to brag. I believe I'm like the leading expert on insider trading. I hope there's somebody that knows more than me. I'd love to meet them, but I haven't met anyone that does that. But I've been doing this a very long time. And so I've got about an hour length training that I teach people how to do this. I show you the SEC website where you can find all these trades. It's completely free. I show you how to scan for the best opportunities, the best signals. So like, the cluster buying, when you can tell when they're first time buyers, things like that. And all the signals I've found to produce historically the biggest returns. And it's all online. It's free to attend. And we were talking before, you're like, you got to do this for our audience. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Plunder them Egyptians. I love it.
That's it.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing opportunity, gang. You're not going to want to miss this. I'll be there at the webinar, learning from Ross all about this little known SEC loophole that's led Ross and his clients to do these massive stock gains. So click on that link below right now to register, gang. Seating is limited, so you don't want to wait. Don't miss out. Click on the link right now, and I'll see you together with Ross on the 13th. Ross Gibbons, this is wild, awesome stuff. Thank you so much for being with us today. I look forward to seeing you at the webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to share.
Absolutely, man. See you then.
All right.